What's up, everybody? This is your boy, Real McCoy Boy, at the Real McCoy Boy 24 on YouTube. Go to my page, give me some views, subscribe, like, and my videos. And I'm here today discussing a very controversial topic, a very taboo topic. Can you tell a transgender woman up against a real woman, or a cis woman, if you want to call it that? And the reason this topic has come to the forefront for me is because what I'm about to say is not anything new. There's been a lot of transgenders being killed over the years. It's always in the news. But the reason I want to talk about this one is because a young 18-year-old paid a transgender to have intercourse with them. Then they killed the transgender and then took the money back. Parental discretion is advised. I might say some stuff that everybody doesn't need to hear. Certain ages don't need to hear. I can't tell you. Once we get into this discussion, it might just come out. Okay, so as we know, over the years, a lot of transgenders has been getting killed, and a lot of all the person that did the killing is always saying, when I found out they were not a woman, that's what changed the whole thing for me. Well, let's be real about this right now. It's not that many people. Maybe in Miami, maybe in California, but there's not that many transgender men that you can't tell. It's always the person with a deep voice that isn't that attractive that wants to be the transgender, that looks still like a man that wants to be the transgender. That is the one that is always ends up being transgender. So how you can't tell that they're transgender is beyond me, because there's no way. And you can go on with that excuse that there's women out there that are kind of rough looking, and it could be a rough looking woman. No. The one thing I could tell you about a woman, because I've seen women that look exactly like men, but there is something there. If you're paying attention, that you can see it's a woman. Like, no matter what, there is something off about that man, and you can tell it's a woman. And that's the same goes for a transgender woman. There is something about that transgender woman that tells you that it is not a real woman. And I don't care what anybody says, oh, she fooled me, blah, 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 this. Most of them have deep voices. And they have to try and speak like a woman. And they have to do work just to sound like a woman. So, but not that anyone deserves to die or anything like that at all. But I've heard this saying, and I have to say that I agree with this saying. If you are so proud of what you are, why are you out here trying to fool someone? And I'm not even saying that woman, that transgender that got killed just recently within the last 3 weeks, I'm not saying that she tried to fool him, because I'm going to be real with you. I don't think she fooled him. I don't think she tried to fool him. I'm going to go as far, I haven't seen the transgender woman, any pictures, but if she, for the most part, if she out here getting money for services, she don't look that much like no woman. She can't fool you into believing she's a woman. And then on top of that, I'm also going to go as far as to say that he knew from jump that she was a dude, or that she used to be a dude. And if he didn't know in the process before they started the services, I bet you he knew why the service is going on. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to try to be as demure as I possibly can. But the one thing I can guarantee you about a guy that messes around with other guys, you heard it here. And if you never heard it before, and this also rings true with when a man is with a woman. A woman may not feel this way, but I can guarantee you a man does. A man can go for so long after that novelty wears off, and you know what I mean when I say novelty. After he gets off, that's the best way I could say it. There's something triggered in a man's mind that he doesn't feel the same way he did before he got off. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. And that also explains why this guy took his money back and choked the transgender. Because the novelty wore off. He wasn't feeling the same. Okay, so a lot of things that happen in situations, whether it's a man attacking a woman, or once that's over with, your senses come back. I don't know why men are wired like that, but once that is over with, your senses, or the reality kicks back in when you're hot and bothered. I'll say that. When you're hot and bothered and you haven't gotten your rocks off, I'm trying to be polite here. Anything can happen. Anything goes. And you're open for anything. But then once the novelty wears off and that's over with, and you done got your rocks off, your whole mind can change, and it can go negative, or it can just make you realize you shouldn't have did what you did. And it can still go negative. And I'm going to give you an example. A small example. My roommate and I, years ago when I was a teenager, we had an apartment, and we met these two people that we had known for some years. We met them years and years ago, and they were best friends. My friend and I were best friends, and we met two best friends that happened to want to get to know us, let's say that. And when you hear that, you think, okay, well, you got some friends, we got two friends, it's gonna be all good. Once the novelty wore off, they broke into our house, used the bathroom in our toilet, and ramshacked our house. They couldn't steal anything because this is our first apartment. We didn't have that much. But what I'm just trying to get you to understand, once that, it doesn't matter. They don't have feelings for you. They don't have anything for you. They just want that to get off because they're hot and bothered. And once that happens, either you better hightail it out of there as soon as it happens, or you better be prepared for whatever, because anything can happen once that happens, especially if it's some stranger. even without it being strangers, because these guys were not strangers with us. And they still had the nerve to want to come back over once they did what they did. And we knew that they did it, but they still wanted to continue to see us once they did that. Like, they don't care. Any kind of sensibility or empathy or anything goes right out the window once they get their rocks off. So I think he knew what he was getting into. He already had probably planned on taking the money back. He may not have planned on doing nothing to the transgender. I'm going to say that the transgender might have put up a fight or something because he tried to take the money back. I'm going to go as far as to say that he tried to take the money back soon as that was over with. And of course, the transgender was not going to give the money back, did not want to give the money back. And so he probably unalived her first, because that's what he did. He did unalive her, unalived him, whichever one you want to call it. And I'm going to say that after he unalived the transgender, that's when he went in her pocket, his or her pocket, and took the money. Be careful. Watch out. Be careful who you let in your space. We already know that when you're having intercourse with someone, your spirits are crossing. And you need to know who you're crossing your spirits with, because clearly he was not a good person. Now he's in jail waiting to go through the court system regarding this. And I seen his preliminary, I believe it was a preliminary, and his attorney had the nerves, and he was only doing his job, but he had the nerve to ask the judge to grant him bond because he was not a threat to anyone. The boy literally went looking for someone, found a transgender, offered the transgender some money, got his rocks off, and then turned around and took the money, killed the transgender, and took the money back. Like, how is he not a threat? There's other transgenders out here. Who's to say that he wouldn't go solicit another transgender and pay them and do the same thing over again? We don't know that he wouldn't. So he is not ready to be out. And like I said, I believe that was his story. The transgender can't tell you anything because the transgender is no longer with us. But I'm willing to bet if the transgender did make it, he or she would have said they knew what I was when the whole thing started. Before it even went down, they knew what I was. Because I hate to tell you this, I hate to say this, and I don't want to clump it all with every man, because there are good men out there. But a lot of men will do it to anything. And when the novelty wears off, their minds don't make sense of what they just did. And I'm here to tell you this from experience. Luckily, I'm not saying I charge anybody. I'm saying, luckily, some of the people that I have dealt with, because those two guys, those two friends, they weren't the only people that showed me in their heads that once the novelty wears off, that they could be dangerous. I've experienced that through other people. They did not make that mistake to do anything to me because I don't think they were that crazy. And I'm not professing to be a bad A. I'm just saying that it's going to be me or them. Neither one of us is going to walk up out of there, especially if you're at my house trying to pull something like that. So, and I've had people actually tell me, in the midst of them wanting to get with me again, they would say to me, I didn't feel right about it. And I said, well, you don't need to do it. You need to stay away from me and leave me alone, because I'm not responsible for how you feel. I'm really not. If you don't cut into me or say anything to me if this is how you feel. And full disclosure, I'm going to say this. We were in the middle of something, and I don't mess with the person anymore, because that person came to me. I didn't go to them. They came to me, they looked me up, they found me, and we were in the middle of something, and they said, I hate to even say this, Lord forgive me, in the middle of whatever was going on between us, them and I. And in my mind, I'm like, and it's nothing wrong with you saying, Lord forgive me. I say, Lord forgive me all the time when I do something that I don't have any business doing or feel like I did something wrong. That person that said that is still calling me to this day. So, believe me when I tell you that a person's mind can flip after the novelty wears off. So you have to be real careful for that. You have to know that. And me dealing with people for so many years of my life, I learn a lot from dealing with people. A lot of people aren't ready for something like this. And they make themselves believe they are until the novelty wears off. And the novelty usually wears off very quickly. So, be careful, transgenders. They already have so much against you. Be honest about what you are up front. And my suggestions is that you hightail it up out of there as soon as it's over. Don't lay around trying to make a conversation with that person. I'm just being honest with you. If they're at your, I wouldn't even invite them to my house if I was you. If I was in a position like that, I would not invite a person to. I wouldn't even put myself in that position. But I'm just saying, because I've learned over the years that a man does not know what he's getting himself into until after the novelty wears off. And then it's a different story. It really, really is. And I've had more than 3 experiences of that. Like I said, it never went to what it went to with this transgender. And I wasn't getting paid to do it. It was just somebody that I thought we had some type of connection. So it wasn't the same. But having said that, and most of the people that I felt like I had a connection with, for the most part I did, because we continued for years dealing with each other. But for those that you come across that happen to be new, and you guys don't bring them to your house. Whatever you do, don't bring them to your house. I can't suggest I can't suggest to you where to put them, where to take them, but I only can tell you, hightail it up out of there as soon as it's over. Don't sit around waiting on the person. Don't sit around, because their mind will change in a matter of seconds, and you already don't know who you're dealing with from jump. For your own safety, hightail it up out of there. So be careful. Please, transgender people, be careful. I can't tell you not to sell your bodies or do services for, I can't tell you you're grown, but I can only tell you, keep your eyes open. These people, these DLs do not care about you. This has been said, I've seen it said by other people. These DLs don't care about you. If you plan on dealing with a DL, be careful. Keep your eyes open, stay alert. That's just all I can tell you. Stop, don't try to fool them. They already know. You can make yourself believe that they don't know, because this is the one thing I have a problem with transgenders. They fool themselves into believing that they can fool someone. You can't. If you're not looking like those top model transgenders all in California and Miami, if you don't look like them, don't put yourself out there to believing that you can fool somebody, because you're not fooling anybody. They're not going to tell you you're not fooling them. They're going to fake it until the novelty wears off. And they're going to be like, oh, I thought you was a... No, they didn't. They knew what they were getting with. If they've been with two real women in their whole life, they know what they're dealing with. So, peace out. Be careful. Be safe. Keep your eyes open. At The Real McCoy Boy 24. At The Real McCoy Boy YouTube. TikTok. Go see me. Like and subscribe. Give me my 50 subscribers. Thank you. Have a nice day.